Hi, Rich Kettner. Welcome to Starry Night Guitars. I thought I would share a story about three incredible experiences I had with guitar players. Three life-changing things I got to see. Now, I play with a lot of people. I've done a lot of gigs. But these three particular encounters had a big impact on my career as a guitar player, or certainly very memorable. So the third one was, I used to live in Southern California, and I got to see the great Phil Keaggy. He's a Christian guitar player. He came up, I think, in the 60s, was in a band called Glass Harp, which I really wasn't aware of. But then he became a believer and started doing solo guitar stuff. Did a lot of fingerstyle stuff. Very unique voice, very interesting. So I saw him, my goodness, at least 25 years ago in Redlands at a Calvary Chapel, I think, in Redlands. And he had a big rack. He was playing acoustic guitar. And this is before loopers were a thing, at least as far as I know. And he was playing, walked over to his rack, played a lick, turned a knob, and it recorded that, created a loop. He played a second thing, a second loop, and then he just went off for like 20 minutes playing over that. And if you've ever seen, some people with loopers, it can get boring very quick. This guy was such a brilliant technician. It was amazing. Really incredible. So that was one for me. Second would be going to see Larry Carlton. This was probably in the early 90s. I got to see him. I got him in Southern California. He was playing at a place called the Coach House, which was down in San Juan Capistrano. And this was kind of at the height of Larry's, guitar prowess, as far as I was concerned. I was aware of him, became aware of him in the late 70s, playing with the Crusaders, and I knew his work with Joni Mitchell, Steely Dan, and then when he did his own solo album that I was a big fan of, at least his first, maybe even his second solo album. Just brilliant guitar playing. So I see him at the Coach House, and to be honest, I don't know who the band was. I know there was a drummer, bass player, I think a keyboard player. And then a side note, his son, who's a really fine bass player, I think that was his first time he played. Larry brought this kid up on stage, and he was maybe 8 or 9 and played with the band. Anyway, the thing about Larry was, like I said, I'd been a fan for a long time. We were very close to the stage. And just watching him play, I don't know if he had his dumbbell with him, but he had monitors on either side in front of him. And he had it set up in such a way he could play a note. His guitar was like almost on the verge of feeding back. And I remember one time he just turned just ever so slightly toward the amp, and this note started to sing out. Not really distortion, but just this beautiful long sustain. And I was just impressed by his mastery on the instrument. It seemed to me he could play whatever he heard, whatever he wanted to play, he could do. But he all about taste. And I, for decades now, have been interested in Larry's stuff. The idea of the super arpeggio of extending triad upon triad upon triad. And I stole a bunch of stuff from him of that. And also using a pedal board on my, no, not a pedal board, sorry, using a volume pedal board, right? I've done that for about the past 25 years. That's number two. Number one for me would be seeing Joe Pass play live. Now, I used to live in New Orleans. I went to college there. And while I was in college, this was early 80s. And I was playing with a big band, like a show band, and we did a lot of big, ballroom stuff, convention stuff coming into town. And we were in tuxedos, and we were all dressed up, and we played at this one place. It was called the Fairmont, and we were upstairs in a ballroom, but down on the bottom floor there was like a private exclusive club that would have big name acts come in. And it just so happened this one night I was playing, Joe Pass came into town. So we took a break, and I went downstairs, and I guess because I was wearing a tuxedo, no one thought anything of me. I just kind of walked into the place, and I pulled back this curtain, and he was right in front of me. He was like 5 to 10 feet away, just him sitting there playing his guitar. And it's this private exclusive club. It seemed like people weren't listening. No one was interested. But my mind was just blown. I was already a fan. I was familiar with his virtuoso albums, stuff he did with Ella, stuff he did with Oscar Peterson. I loved all of that. And I stood there for, 3 or 4 minutes. It seemed almost like, an eternity. I had to get back upstairs, though, to keep playing, but it was amazing to see him play live. And man, just so brilliant. So I've seen a lot of the people that are great, other great musicians. I won't name names, but those three, and not that I sound anything like any one of those guys, just to see that kind of artistry on an instrument was so inspiring and, just breathtaking and amazing. So I'd like to hear your stories. I'm sure you guys have seen great people or things that really had impact on you. As always, God bless. Enjoy the journey.